Job creation is one of the big challenges facing the GNU. Since ascending to power in 2018, President Cyril Ramaphosa's difficult challenge has been creating job opportunities for his country. This has not produced desirable results. However, the president hopes that parties in the Government of National Unity GNU will produce jobs. Ramaphosa's ANC will be sharing power with 5 other parties after eating humble pie in the May 29th general elections, losing its party dominance for the first time in the 30 years since democracy. This has not only hurt the party's popularity but has also presented a new challenge on how the ruling party will be able to deliver on its promises for jobs, among others. In this motivation of South Africans to warm up to the GNU, Ramaphosa said on Monday last week that the parties to the GNU have agreed on priorities for the incoming administration, adding that the top of the list of priorities was the achievement of rapid, inclusive and sustainable economic growth to create jobs. Giving effect to the principles of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights must be the overriding focus of this GNU. This will be done by pursuing a common program to eradicate poverty and build a more equal society, create jobs, and to make the government truly work for the people. The GNU Statement of Intent provides a solid base of genuine cooperation between parties across the political spectrum who have signed up of their own accord. The Statement of Intent commits the signatories to a set of fundamental principles that include respect for constitutionalism, accountability, transparency, and community participation in government, evidence-based policy and decision-making, professionalization of the public service, integrity, and good governance, he said. Showing his unwavering support for business, he emphasized that the GNU stays the course of the structural reform that is underway to improve the business operating environment and establish South Africa as an investment destination of choice. Ramaphosa stated that it was necessary to resolve long-standing challenges in key industries and create more jobs and opportunities. The fact that there is broad consensus among the parties on the priorities of the incoming administration encourages us that the GNU will indeed take the country forward. Emanating from the priorities outlined in the Statement of Intent, the parties will further refine the GNU's program, including through the processed national dialogue process. We remain committed to consensus building and to the representation of the broad range of interests and viewpoints within government. At the same time, we are all keenly aware that South Africans expect action, implementation, and results, said Ramaphosa. The United Nations Development Programme UNDP warned last year that South Africa's high unemployment rate, particularly among its youth, is a ticking time bomb that could result in social unrest. The UNDP's South Africa National Human Development Report for 2022 focused on analyzing South Africa's youth employability. Youth unemployment in South Africa is a challenge that limits the earning potential of youth, stymies business growth, threatens social cohesion, and puts pressure on public resources, the report said. There is no doubt that the high unemployment rate is a ticking time bomb. The Spectator Index's 2023 Youth Unemployment Rate list reveals that South Africa has the worst youth unemployment among all included countries. South Africa has over 10 million young people aged 15 to 24 years. Of these, only 2.5 million were in labor force, either employed or unemployed. As the 7th administration starts in term, it was not clear how the parties in the GNU plan to create the much-needed job opportunities to boost the country's ailing economy. Meanwhile, 10 out of 18 parties represented in parliament have chosen to form part of the 7th administration, and 8 have opted not to be part of the GNU back. The parties that have not yet joined the GNU include Umkhonto weSizwe, the EFF, Action SA, African Christian Democratic Movement, National Colored Congress, Build One South Africa, African Transformation Movement, and the United African Transformation. These parties hold a combined 113, which is 28.25% of the 400 seats in parliament. Ramaphosa was elected as president of South Africa's 7th administration with the help of the DA and the IFP, paving the way for this inauguration at the Union Buildings in Pretoria 11 days ago. In an interview with broadcaster Newsroom Africa on last week, UNISA's political sciences professor Dirk Coetzee said the government of national unity, despite the problems being experienced, would stand as government. They do not have a choice. They must make it work. There is no other option. The other option will most possibly be that we have to go back for another election. If the GNU doesn't work, Parliament and the executive will become unworkable, he said. GNU quagmire, taking headwinds is not easy. These articles by Vusi Shongwe. The death of democracy will not be an assassination from ambush. It will be a slow extinction from apathy, indifference, and lack of nourishment. If the DEA is genuine about its quest to ameliorate the lives of the downtrodden, it must always prioritize their interests first and desist from being too self-centered. The biggest challenge we face as humans is the one that lies within ourselves, the result of an innate and probably biological tendency to satisfy personal desires over the well-being of society. This is exactly what the DA is doing with its outrageous bargaining of ministerial posts. Regarding the impasse of ministerial allocations, one suggests a modified version of Kenneth Burke's theory of rhetoric as a way to address the question of how a new coalition government constructs and projects an image of unity. Burke holds that identification may be achieved when a speaker links himself or herself with others by appealing to shared values, attitudes, or goals. If successful, argues Judy Atkins in her paper, Together in the National Interest, the rhetoric of unity and the formation of the Cameron-Clegg government, this discovery of common ground forms the basis of a rapport between speaker and audience and thus facilitates cooperative action. Atkins distinguishes three forms of identifications that may be employed to promote and demonstrate coalition unity: ideological, based on shared values; instrumental, which founded on common interests, either existing or rhetorically constructed; and interpersonal, which concerns the relations between individuals or groups. Also relevant in his concept of identification through antithesis, which occurs when groups who would otherwise argue join forces against a common adversary. This is achieved by portraying the enemy in the negative light while inviting the allies to identify with the aims and values of the group. My take regarding our government of national unity is that President Cyril Ramaphosa must be wary and rise above the prohibitive, agreeable black perception that is growing worrisomely in the African public domain. Right now, he is standing at the junction of African solidarity on the left and perceived Uncle Tom direction on the right, and the ball is in the courts of the head of state, Ramaphosa. He must not be cowed into agreeing to the DA's ridiculous and arrogant demands of a 20% share on ministerial posts. The struggle to improve the lives of the poorest of the poor is far from over. Every person on this planet shares a common humanity. We all want everybody to have a decent job and live a poverty-free life. That's what being human is about. It is our job to do everything we can to oppose all who try to divide us up and set us against each other. Who else other than the president should extricate the country from the quagmire it has sunk into? My message to Ramaphosa is that taking headwinds is not easy. Do not be sidetracked. Change born out of pathos and dissatisfaction can be redirected by vision and resolved by definitive implementation. He is advised not to forget Immanuel Kant's famous quote, "Out of the crooked timber of humanity, no straight thing was ever made." Kant is saying that humanity is so irregular that you cannot make anything perfectly straight from it. As American founding father Thomas Paine said in 1776, these are the times that try men's souls. Dr. Vusi Shongwe is the Chief Director of Heritage at the KZN Department of Sport, Art and Culture. He writes in his personal capacity. And that's it from Injibs Network. Stay tuned to our celebrity and gossip news.